Okay, so today is April 16th of 2023. I only have so much time left to do this kind of stuff in the kitchen. Seriously, since all this shenanigan went on with my son and just whatever, like my eyes have gotten worse, people. Like, I don't know. You see, the thing about this eye doctor is he can do whatever he wants. And it won't matter because at the end of the day, the prognosis was always poor. In other words, it's just a matter of time, basically, before I go completely blind if I don't die before that happens. Because of the type of glaucoma that I have and the fact that they can't stop it from progressing, they can only slow it down. And I only had a short window of time to get those eye drops within a period of, 2.5 years, to which I couldn't get a freaking referral, to which pushed me over the edge, and I am where I am now. If you notice, I'm not sick. Sure, I get runny nose, and I come into the stove and the burners, and I open the oven, and heat goes, whatever. I taste things, the spices, they trigger allergies in me, and because really, seriously, I worked in this yard for like too many years. Coming into contact was, not to mention all the other shit that I came into contact even before this house, people. Okay, whatever. So, in the meantime, and honestly, when my son was standing here, and I'm, right, and he provoking, honest to God, people, my eyes went real cloudy all of a sudden, just boom. His girlfriend has already been inoculated 3 times. 3 fucking times. So my son's been inoculated. If I ask him, he'll probably tell me no, he's not. But I don't believe it. I wouldn't believe it, people. I wouldn't fucking believe it. And I figured out why that last dream I had one this morning, and it woke me up. But whatever it was, as fast as it woke me up, I fucking forgot it. I told you. It's like it startled me so bad. And I'm like, oh, just calm down. Relax. Go back to sleep. And I forced myself to go almost immediately back to sleep. And don't ask me what fucking woke me up or what the dream about, because I can't even freaking remember now. All I know is it just wasn't that great. Okay, because of the stress. Listen. When Joan moved in, she was the one that was paying the least in the house. Mm-hmm. When Julian moved in, what was he paying? $3.75 for rent? Whoop-de-fucking-do. And half that time, Shimei was paying it for him because he didn't like to pay rent. No. I'm just saying. And when Austin was in the house with Sierra, he never paid rent. Never, not fucking once did he ever pay rent. Okay? This girl that's moved in pays the least in rent. Okay. $300. How about that? Yeah. Okay. But she's got this house on emotional lockdown. Okay. I'm not going to go around in circles on this, people. I'm like, I already got a freaking headache, okay? Because I'm trying so hard to understand this without getting paranoid. Because, and of course, through my trying to figure out, to understand, right? I'm drawing on experiences that I've already had with other people that have moved into my house. Not me moving into their houses, but them moving, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, but they're moving into my houses. Okay? And then how they try and control the narrative or manipulate the household so that whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish, because people have different motives. Okay. So, I'm trying to understand this, okay? Because I don't know this girl from fucking Adam. And anyway, when Shimei started dating Julian, right? Everybody liked Shimei and nobody liked me. Julian didn't like me. His sister didn't like me. His mother fucking despised me, right? For what? Because, Julian talked bad, right? Julian wanted Shyt to move out and so he could go set up his little drug house and have the prostitutes move in and, run their fucking shack, right? That's what he wanted, and he wanted to put everything in Shyt's name. So that when the shit hit the fan, he could walk free and she would be the fall girl. And I kept warning her, don't do it. Like, why are you with this guy? Fucking just, oh, he's going to change. And, like, fuck. Anyway, ran him out of the house a couple times. We know that. Okay. The point is look how that family, look what they did to Shyt. In a nutshell. Even John's family. Look what John's family did to Uncle John once they had Joan's life insurance policy in their hand. They didn't tell him, people, for 14 months, and when they did tell him, they had already medically kidnapped him, drugged him up, took him to Victoria, rushed him to the emergency ward at the Victoria General Hospital, doped him up, and then told him, and then running around trying to accuse me of stealing his wallet, even though his wallet was in his fucking room. Okay, so that they could start doing the transfer of that money into his account. Okay, and they didn't take him until after they got the credit card statement to know what his bank was, because the social worker kept asking me, who has power of attorney, who, right, who does the banking? Well, I do. Well, this is what we're going to do. Well, no, we're not. We're going to talk to John first and see if John wants what you want for him, because last time I talked to John, he didn't want any of that. And is he even aware of what you're planning for him? What's wrong with John? Why don't you tell me what's wrong with John first before you try and tell me to put my John Henry so you can ship him off over there and make him start paying for services when I don't even know what the fuck is wrong with him? Okay, this all happened in the first couple of days of him being in the hospital. It's on recording. I've recorded the whole scenario, people, as to how those people medically kidnapped him from day one. Once they realized he was in the hospital, because I phoned up his family and said he's in the hospital, and that's when they fucking got on board. Okay, the point is, we know what happened to Shyt. We know what people are capable of doing in terms of that underground economy, right? We know how lovers, partners, can profess to love their partner, their lover, their girlfriend, their boyfriend, their wife, their husband, whatever, and then turn around and fucking instigate murder so that somewhere down the line the money can be laundered back to that group, because it's not usually just one. It's not one. They can't act on their own. There's a group. Okay? Julian couldn't have done what he did unless Shyt was drugged first with that medical fentanyl so that she was off guard. And he took her out when she was off guard. Okay. Anyway, none of those people cared about Shyt, because even when she had the baby, on the first day she went to that mother's house, they were fucking with the birth certificate, picked a fight, took off Shyt's name on the computer, just had Johnson push send, and then when the birth certificate came back, it was just Johnson. And then when she wanted to get Chorney on the birth certificate so she could go see her dad, right? Julian refused to see it. Shyt was talking about going to court in front of a judge to get it done by a judge. That's why she had those videos that are up on my YouTube channel, right? So that he couldn't sit up there and say, oh, I don't do drugs, I don't do this, I don't do... She could say, no, look, he does this, I got the video proof. He fucking knew it, right? And he took her out, people. He fucking took her out, and his sister helped him, and the mother fucking enabled it and egged it on. Well, to be honest with you, I feel like I'm almost in the same kind of fucking situation. Only this time I'm dealing with a fucking female that reminds me of a Joan Duncan. I do, people. I do. What woman moves in to with a man that lives basically with his mother, right? And the mother is obviously you know, in a bad situation because she lost 2 daughters. You know, she inherited 2 grandkids, and one is severely disabled. And the mother doesn't necessarily, quote unquote, have health issues, but she's going blind, right? You know, and this girl just, you know, I'm telling you, people, looks, I don't even think she has a fucking girlfriend. You know why I say that? Because when my son first started dating her, you know, she has all these men friends. You know, in my dream, right? He was building a room for me, and he was on the verge, I guess, building a room for Andre. I don't know. And he turned his fucking back on me. He was standing in a row with a whole bunch of other men looking that fucking way. And I'm trying to get him to realize that this isn't a fucking joke, and he just ignoring me. Okay? Where did all those men come from? She wasn't standing in that line, people. It's because she's got a whole bunch of fucking men that are her friends. Because he told me when he first started dating her that she has a bunch of male friends, and one of them is a good, like a best friend, a male best friend. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, why are you getting involved with that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, right? You know, she made him fucking feel insecure right from the fucking beginning. And even then, they go off and they do these I don't want to say stupid things. They go off and they you know, they do, I don't know, they dress up, and I don't know, they do something, a social gathering or something, I don't know, it's something that they do. And you know, all her male friends are around, and they're doing something. And my son, he told me, he has to root them on. Oh yeah. You know, show them that he's not jealous of them. And I said, why? Why are you doing that? Oh, well, you know. I'm like, oh, whatever. Okay, let it fucking slide, people. Didn't bother him. Didn't, you know? I gave him my advice, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't even think she has a female friend. I have never fucking seen one girl come here and hang out with her. Not one. She has sisters. But what's a sister compared to a friend? Right? Because when he came up here and he started ragging on me, so much for making Alfredo sauce. I'll get to it. You know, he started ragging on me. He just started beaking up. You have no friends. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm busy, man. As if I want fucking friends pulling me down. You know, coming with their emotional this and their emotional baggage of that. And some of them sneaking around stealing my shit. And, you know, being two-faced. And, you know, like, fuck, I'm 61 years old. I don't got time for that crap. I already been through that shit and done that. You know, I look after my family. I try and I battle my freaking landlady so that you have a fucking roof over your stupid head, asshole. You're not battling with her. I battle with her. I've been battling with her for 13 fucking years, for crying out loud. Right? Not to mention everything else that I've done in this stupid house just so that you could sit there and say you have a place to live that's cheap. Okay? Who needs friends when you're busy? I got my few little friends on YouTube through chat. I'm happy with them. I got Lucy, right? Lucy's not up in my house. I'm not up in her house, but we're friends. I got Shelly, forever blessed, right? She not up in my house. I'm not up in her house, but we're friends. April, same thing. I guess you could say Peggy. She just took some time out from it. Fair enough. But I noticed she didn't remove me from Facebook, so that tells me we're still friends. That's good. I'm happy with that. I'm busy, people. Okay, I only got so much time left on this fucking planet. Anything else after that, they're on their own. And the way the world is going, I don't know what they're thinking. They got so they're worse than blinders on their eyes. Oh well, if it happens, it happens. Yeah, okay, that's what you say now. That's what you say now. Give it another 5, 10, 15 fucking years, and your kids are being manipulated, and they're starting to die, or who knows, or who knows, or who knows. How are you going to cope with it then? When you can't even fucking cope with life right now, in terms of your own damn mother. Right? Okay. Because I keep looking at this dream, and I'm like, okay, all men standing in a row, zombified, looking that way. Well, my son's trying to lock me up in some fucking bedroom and working on another one. I guess for the kids, Andre, and, well, he never shows really no interest in Amari, and neither does she. So I guess Amari is out of the equation, because Andre is capable to move around, dress himself, feed himself, can learn how to do laundry, and, can do this, they can boss him around, right? Right? Not boss him around, but they can tell him to do this and he can do it. Amari, you can't tell him anything because he just can't fucking do it. He's actually called what you call real responsibility. Something that they don't fucking want. Okay? It's pretty apparent. And the way my son treats me, oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Put blind mom in the fucking bedroom, close the door, and forget about her. And if she dies in there, oops, well, I guess she did it to herself, and move on. Because everybody else is looking that way, zombified. Zombified. And by what? A manipulator? A manipulator, people? That eggs my son on to throw stuff like this outside? Because it's redundant? You can't tell me she doesn't. Because she does. Not once has she ever said, I don't think. I really don't think, because she projects the idea that it's okay for him to do that because it's redundant. So therefore, it empowers him to keep doing it. To which she manipulates. This is the way Joan was. No different. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, I'd put down my guard. And I said, listen, Judy, you just got to give this girl a fair chance. Don't let your emotional baggage from Julian, Austin, Joan, whatever, interfere with your relationship with her. Be honest with her. Tell her how you feel. I tell her I miss my daughters. When I go into Shemai's room, I miss Shemai. I'd rather have Shemai in that room before I have all that fucking food in that room. I miss Sierra. Right? I told her how we're a targeted family. Right? And that it's been a progression. And that, she needs to be aware of it. Because God forbid if she became targeted. That's what I told her. However, I'm starting to think that she's the one that's doing the fucking targeting here, and everybody's going to get blindsided like we were with Shemai. Only my son won't be around to see it, because by that time he'll be fucking dead, and she'll be cashing in on the life insurance policy. And if they're not cashing in on the life insurance policy, because she's not doing it by her fucking self, okay? They'll be cashing in on that underground economy as they're wheeling and dealing in his fucking organs. There, I said it! Because she can't communicate with a grown woman that's intelligent. No, she'd rather come in here and fucking destroy my fucking house by turning my son into a maniac. Oh, but she can communicate with a 12-year-old boy. But I guess it fits with her fucking friends, being that they're all men. I'm just saying. Think about it. She can communicate with men and 12-year-old boys, but she can't communicate with the mother of the man that she's going. Guess what? They're going to get married now. He told me yesterday, tried to be happy about it because they were out there loading up that dump trunk with all that shit out there. Oh, guess what, Mom? I said, what? Oh, we're getting married. I said, oh, good for you. And I just walked away. That's what she brings into my house, people. I just walked away. I said, good for you, and I walked away. And I came upstairs. And ever since then, all I'm thinking is, okay, they're going to expect you to go to this wedding. The only thing is, I don't want to. Because I don't know what kind of game these people are playing. Right? I only met her dad one time. He came to my house because I wanted to get Betsy on the road for at least one more year. Because he's a mechanic. Right? It just needed to be, have a new battery put in it and adjust the carb and spark her up. He told me he was going to come back, but that he was busy. And that it still had its catalytic converter underneath, right? And that he'd come back. Well, guess what? He never did. And by the time my son got rid of that car, apparently, I don't know who the fuck it was, came and took out the catalytic converter and stole it. The point is, why would I go to a wedding when that girl's got nothing good to say about me? To her family, to her parents, to her sisters, to her whoever, her friends. So they can all walk around fucking whispering and talking on about me, but yet praise my son as what a good guy he is, but he's got a shitty ass fucking mother. I won't, people, because that takes me to Julian's mother. And I don't care, Tamika, what you think about it, because your story will always stick to you like glue. Learned my lesson already, people. Okay? You can't change the stripes of what? What is it? The tiger and the spots on the leopards. You just can't. You can't expect a Joan Duncan to do the right thing when it's not in them to do the right thing. It's okay to throw my stuff outside. Break it, smash it. Because it's mind control. Right? I never once ever thought about smashing this girl's shit. But she expects my son to do it, and then when I call her on it, say, well, why don't you say something? Tell him it's wrong. She says, well, no. He does what he wants. He does what he wants. No, bitch, you influenced it because he never was like that until you moved in. Bottom line. And he hasn't stopped. You see, that's the thing. And if he feels that he's got to protect you from me, because I went downstairs into the business or into Auntie Shemay's closet and I pulled out some shit and I showed you some little dresses that perhaps could have fit you, and I offered you to have them if they fit you, if you'd like to have them because they were pretty, and you took it, and then as soon as I was back in that bloody bedroom, you come with this dress and you go in and you just put it wherever, and I'm like, what did you do? Oh, well, I don't want it. It doesn't fit. I said, it doesn't fit? Like, when did you even try it on? All in the space of 10 minutes. Oh, well, I just pulled it up over my body. Yeah, when I was in Shemay's room, you did that when you were in the kitchen. Why couldn't you have done that when I was standing there? Because she didn't put it on, people. She two-faced in my face. And I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example. You see this book? 1987. It's you know, with the homeschool, right? It's called Homegrown Kids. Okay? I had to bring Sierra home from school. So I started to read. I've had this book for years and 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 years. This girl wants to set the tone with Andre. Well, my son's up here telling me it's fucking charity. And that I should be grateful and give her what she wants. And I'm like, fuck you. No, she can go get herself a fucking job, part-time, being that she's not working right now, and all she does is stand in front of her fucking sewing machine downstairs. Right? I come down, I do a little, you know, chat a little bit, try and give her fucking some, you know, give her, you know, tell her that she's going to inherit everything after I'm dead because Tisha doesn't want to sew, and this is the thanks I fucking get, okay? I'm serious, people. I got another fucking Joan Duncan in this house, okay? Anyway, I asked her, before this all blew up, right? Did you get a chance to read this book? She goes, oh, I only read a couple of pages. I said, oh, okay. So you're going to continue? She goes, yeah. Anyway, for whatever strange reason, this book was up here. She lied to me. 2 fucking times. I caught her in a fucking lie. I doubt she even looked at it, people. She sneaks. That's the point. She's sneaky. And she's manipulative. Okay? And she expects my son, I don't know, gimme, 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 even if it means trashing your mom. And then when mom comes and says, why are you allowing my son to trash me? She'll just, oh no, it's not me. Your son's doing that on his own. No, it has nothing to do with me. Although, this is redundant. So who fucking cares? Well, you know what? One man's junk is another man's fucking treasure here, bitch. And last time I checked, this is my house. And yeah, okay, now you're gonna marry my son with all your fucking boyfriends on the side. Are your girlfriends gonna show up at the wedding? But honestly, I don't give a shit, because I already know how your family thinks about me, because I know how you think about me, just like I know how Julian's mother thinks about me, just how I know how Julian thought about me, just how I know how Tamika thought about me. And look what happened to my daughter. I am not looking forward to having it happen now to my son, so some white, Caucasian, middle-class family can buy another house. If you want to take it there. Okay? But I won't be around to see it. Takes a little while to build up that steam. Don't tell me how much you love my son, you like my son, but you can't stand me, and you go and you import that with the rest of your fucking family. Because you know you've done it. You've done it before I've even had a chance to get to know your family, because you were too busy destroying mine. Aha! And being that you can only communicate with males, that's what you're interested in. Males. That's already been confirmed. And my son's standing there in a whole line of fucking males, captured like zombie. Zombified by some, Tammy, I think she calls her a Jezebel. Yeah, a fucking Jezebel. You got that right. And you want me to go to your wedding so that your family can talk behind my back right in front of my fucking face? Kind of like what you do. You just sit there and smile in my face, make it look like you're interested in what I have to say or whatever, but as soon as I turn my back, you're fucking going in the opposite direction and then lying about it, thinking I didn't fucking catch on to it? Yeah, okay. I got a lot more experience than her, people. Okay? I've been through a lot in this fucking house. Joan Duncan put me through a fucking lot. And I've come into contact with girls like her already well before fucking Joan ever showed up. Maybe she's pregnant. Maybe that's why she's not working. Maybe that's why they're gonna get married, so they don't have a bastard child. Who fucking knows? All I know is once they get married, she's gonna be thinking in her head, well, there, I get spousal support, I get child support, I'm going to inherit life insurance when he dies, right? Because, you know, that's what it is, people. It's not about bonding with the fam. I get to boss Andre around. Andre will help me. He's not allowed to help his nana, but he can help me. Yeah, okay, go away. Go away. You got your fucking male friends. Go communicate with them. Seriously. Seriously. So now I have to just disconnect. I have to walk on eggshells in my own fucking house, try to avoid them both completely as best as I can. And if I gotta go downstairs into my space, my fucking space, I just leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Fuck off. Yeah, sure. Goodbye. Leave me alone. Oh, and then, you know, they'll go on the mode of attack because they'll use my weaknesses against me. Right? Because that's what bullies do. So it will draw them together because they've got a reason to fucking stay together because they got to go on the attack even more on mom. This is the cycle, people. This is the cycle that she brought into this house. And my son is dumb because he's too busy standing in that fucking line with the rest of those fucking idiots looking that way, ignoring about what's really fucking important here. All to impress the girl. That's exactly what she is, a girl. She's not no fucking woman, that's for sure. She thinks she is, because she's university educated, and her parents are together after all these years, and they own their own house, because they're the epitome of what is white and right. I'm just saying. So now I'm worried about my son being murdered for profit by a snake. Because that's what the world is about. That's what the world has taught me. And the way this girl acts is no different than a fucking Julian. Fucking Julian all over again. Only this one's not violent like Julian. This one's like a Joan. And look what Joan did to John. Because if she wouldn't have left him that fucking money, honest to God, I do believe he'd still be alive today. And so would the rest of my family that have already died. Because it was the money that made his sister take him at age 76. She had all those years to kidnap John, but he didn't have anything to steal. She couldn't capitalize off of him until the inheritance showed up. And that's why she didn't tell him for 14 months. And that's why the government is so bent hell out of shape to keep it fucking hidden. With their trickery and their denial. Because they know. They know. Yeah. So there. It's my life. I don't know why it's like that. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing right now. And when I'm done, because I still got the tomatoes and those kind of things, the fruit and whatever, right? So I'll space those in, right? And I'm just going to start selling off my shit, people. Yeah. I'll find a way. I'll find a fucking way. Right? And when I can't fucking do no more, well, I'll deal with that problem when that time comes, and I will not be turning to my son. Nope. Nope. I will fight tooth and fucking nail to get away from him. Because that's when he'll come and, oh, I'm the son. She's my mother, and I'm going to make a decision for her. No, you're not, motherfucker. Get the fuck away from me, you asshole. Go abuse somebody else. Yeah, go fucking abuse somebody else. And take your abusive little fucking worm with you. Because that's exactly the way I feel about it. You come into my house and you sneaking around two-facing my face as if you think I'm that dumb. Just because I can't fucking see very well doesn't mean I'm fucking dumb. And it doesn't mean I haven't come into contact with people like you. Okay, you wanna sit up there and say that you have not instigated my son to throw out nothing, even though he's still throwing out shit? Like, fuck you. And then you sit up there and say, well, it's redundant. It's redundant. Yeah, you're a fucking redundant. Go away. Go away. My son's gonna have a real rude fucking awakening. I told you. It's coming. You watch and see. something's gonna happen with all those fucking men. Yeah. And it will be because of her. In one way or another. Never had, okay, 3 fucking dreams. Whatever happened this morning, I don't know, was boom. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, calm down, Judy. Go back to fucking sleep. Don't think about it. And I did. But it's gonna come back. Because this is a dangerous situation. This is no way to live your life. And I'll be damned if I go to some stupid freaking wedding while people are as they're looking at me, pointing fingers, and then turning their head. Yeah, okay, go away. Yeah, go watch my fucking videos and figure out what you did with your daughter, okay? How about that? You see, they'll never do that, though, because they're the epitome of what is fucking right. Because they're white, and they're fucking right, and they think they got an entitlement mentality because they're, I suppose, middle class. Yeah. So don't think that I just pick up on Punjabis or whatever, okay? Because I don't. My son doesn't fucking fit in there. He's trying to fit in. That's why he's standing there like this. With everybody else trying to fit in. But as he does that, he abandons his own family. But yet, they praise him as to what a good guy he is. That's asinine. And give me no credit. Oh, yeah, okay. He popped himself out, lived in the bush, outgrew being a fucking Tarzan boy, and decided to go into civilization and do it all for himself. Yeah, fuck off. And last time I checked, that girl's living in my house, trashing my shit. And not taking absolutely no responsibility for it, because it was my son who did it. Even though if I was to call her, she's, oh, I'm not talking about this. Let's go. Yeah, Joan, let's go. That's what Joan would do. Yeah. But you can sure talk to a fucking 12-year-old, can't you? But you can't talk to somebody that's 61. That actually puts a roof over your head. Considering you only pay $350 in rent. Just saying. As you're throwing out shit. And it, you know, but I didn't do it. It was your son who did it. Yeah, who made him do it? Why did he do it? Why does he continue to fucking do it? Huh? Why? I got a video going on.
What are you doing?
I'm canning another Alfredo, but this time I'm using old cheddar cheese with it because I want it more of a cheesy sauce. Okay. Alfredo cheddar cheesy sauce. Okay. That's the name of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's it. That's what's going on. And I know I'm not the only person in the world that has to go through this crap with their stupid fucking kids. I know it. That's why I talk about it. Because when you're in this kind of a situation, you get so overwhelmed with it, you don't know what to do. And it can tear you apart. And obviously it adds to depression, right? You know what I mean? And that feeding frenzy just gets, I don't know. This girl's, you know, like I said, her family is egging it on too. Okay? They're egging her on. They don't need me. They don't treat me well. They mistreat me. They don't need me. They don't want me. So don't ask me to go to your fucking wedding. That's the way I see it. You're fake. I'm not. You sneak around, lie, connive, plot and scheme. I don't. I wear my emotions on my sleeves. Mm-hmm. That's not even freaking shredding. Hold on. Okay, so before I get on with this here, almost ready. As a reminder, when Sierra was lured to her death, and those dirty cops were guarding the door, with that body dude guy going down the stairs after the cops said, "Did you get the stuff? Did you get the cell? Did you get the stuff?" Which one was it? Did you get the stuff or did you get the cell? Either or, he was asking the body dude guy if he got it and if he was coming back. And the body dude guy said, "Yeah, I'm coming back." But as he's going down the stairs, he's looking at a fucking cell phone, people, with a big grin on his face when he gets to the bottom and he's doing hand signals to the fucking dirty fucking white cops. Those were all white people. All of them. Except for maybe that one other body dude guy that could have been a Muslim. Who knows? Personally, some of them are skinwalkers in my opinion. Or shapeshifters, or both. Alright? Exposure can bring a lot of things to the surface, including motherboards and coroner's hair, okay? Alright. The other thing is, when Shmay was in the hospital, and when I walked into that room and I said to that so-called, I don't know, what was she, a nurse or a social, no, she was a social worker. She was white. Jody, the gay guy, with the prison shirt on, was white. A few other of those nurses or whatever, it was another social worker, all white. Okay? The Punjabi with the big turban on was the one that was the gynecologist with his own operating team that took out Shmay's organs, and he was the overseer of it all. Okay? And that other doctor, I don't know, he was fucking white, Irish or something, who knows. Okay? The point is, don't underestimate white people. They're just as crooked as the Punjabis, as the Chinese, if not more so, because they're the ones that came in with that institutional racism and built it within our parliament buildings. But that's not to say that Punjabis don't participate in institutional racism within their own culture, right? Within their classism of politics. I'm just pointing that out. So when I talk about my son and his girlfriend, being that she's of Caucasian race, doesn't make her special when it comes to the shit that goes on in this province called British Columbia, Canada. And the thing is, she asked my son to move in with her, only she didn't move out with my son. She moved into my house, and it hasn't been no picnic, people. I guess it really depends. You know, in the old days, back in the 1500s when they were running slaves, they used to have picnics as they were hanging them from a fucking tree. Black people, that is. You know what I'm saying? You know, they used to do all kinds of crazy crap with black people as they sat there and ate their fucking sandwiches or whatever they were eating at their picnics. So I wouldn't put it past anybody in this stupid rotten province, because it's all just, I don't know, there's something wrong with a lot of individuals out here. And just the fact that she moved into my house, and as soon as she moved in, that's when my shit started being thrown out. And I'm telling you, I'm still, well, I don't know about now, because it's all in the dump now. But either or, you know, not taking no responsibility, trying to blame my son completely for it, you know, whatever. Just lying to my face, sneaking behind my back, you know, thinking I don't fucking notice shit, right? Like, you know, fuck off, leave me alone, man. All right? She was living at her mother's house and her father's house, and she wanted to get the hell away from them, so she moved into my house. And that's when my landlady was threatening to kick me out, to bring in the bins with her son. And I said to my son, well, can you just hold out for a couple of months before you move out with this girl? Because, you know, I got to wrap my head around what my landlady is doing, right? And take it fucking serious and get ready for it, right? And he's been holding it over my head ever since, people, and refuses to fucking leave as he's abusing me. And he's got his little fucking girlfriend needling him on. Serious. As everybody in her family loves my son, but hates me. Yeah, okay. And they don't even fucking know me. And even if they're watching my fucking videos, they need to step back and think about if my son came in and did this shit in their house, how the hell would they feel? They'd be thinking and feeling the same fucking way. Maybe not swearing so much because they're the fine Christian, you know? The epitome of what is white and right in British Columbia, Canada, when it comes to that middle class. But to what expense? Trashing poor blind women? So they can feel good about themselves? Is that it? Yeah. Go away. You know, that thing I just showed you, that glass thing, with that little carry thing, I don't know what to do with it. It was downstairs, but obviously it was a nuisance. I mean, I could put it out in the street. I'm sure somebody would love to have it, considering it never got broken in that big pile of junk. I could give it to Tisha and with a whole bunch of other shit, and she could drop it off at the church, and the church can just give it away to whoever needs it. And honestly, being that they are dealing with Africans that actually come from Africa, maybe some of them even come from like real refugee camps that have nothing. And I know how that is because I worked with those kids up at Gateway Place for 2.5 years, 40 to 60 of them at a time, right? I mean, yeah, they could just give families that crap. So there's that option. Or, you know, I'm thinking like, how the fuck can you get out of this fucking house and make it fast and sweet and short? And I'm like, well, you know, why don't you just have an estate sale, right? Advertise, come on in. Just fucking come and look around and tell me what you want and give me a quote and we'll wheel and deal and you can fucking walk off with it, people. Like, seriously. Seriously. People want me to get rid of my fucking shit. Die. Or lock me up in some fucking room and abuse me. And ignore me. Yeah, fuck. I'm like, serious. I don't know what is wrong with the world. Well, the Punjabis say, oh, well, we're not like that. We look after our own. We look after our elderly. We respect our elderly. Yeah, but why? Why? Because you also teach the young to target families like mine so that you have money to buy organs when you need them, being that you got your doctors working in our healthcare system undercover. Witnessed it myself, people. When they're not delivering babies and injuring them at the time of their birth, and then immediately signing them up into research studies. That's the only thing that doctor can offer Amari is a fucking research study. Just saying. So, I'm not just picking on white people and I'm not just picking on Punjabis, but that's basically who the main culprits are at this point. I'm sure if I lived in freaking Richmond where there was a bunch of freaking Cantonese and those kind of people, Asian, whatever, like Chinese, that type of thing running around, and I came into contact with some Chinese doctor and they did that to Shmei, I'd be like, oh, it was a Cantonese dude, right? You know, but it wasn't. It was a fucking Punjabi. But all the nurses hovering around Shmei were basically Caucasian, including the fucking social workers, except for maybe one or two that were a minority of something. Okay? And all those fucking dirty cops, those coroners, that fucking body dude guy, they were all white. So don't underestimate what I say about what's going on in my house with this white girl. It's too convenient, people. It was too sudden, too convenient. Just it obviously doesn't want to stop. When I gave her that dress, I didn't force it on her. She took it. I said, you know, try it on, right, when you get a chance, and let me know. She waited till I went to the bedroom, and not even 5 minutes later, she came back, and she was carrying the dress. I said, what are you doing? Oh, well, I don't want it. I'm like, okay, why? Did you even try it on yet? Yeah, I pulled it up over my body. Why couldn't she have done that when I was standing there with her? Because she's two-faced, and she's fake. That's why, people. I told her that, you know, Andre's getting bigger, right? And is saying, my room, my room. And I'm like, when I leave this house, you know. And he's getting bigger, right? But right now, you know, Amari's in there. When he's in there. And it's not like Amari can be, and I sleep at the end of the bottom of the bed. And like Uncle John's room, Tisha's room to Uncle John's room, which has been the playroom, like still, but I locked Andre out because he makes such a mess in there all the time. Like, you know, like, I don't know, she took that information and she flipped it and she got my son all agitated and, you know, tried to make it sound like I wasn't providing for Andre. Like, fuck off, man. My grandmother had 5 kids in a one-room house with a wood stove in the middle of it, and they all had to go out to the bloody outhouse, okay? And that's how they lived on the farms when they weren't working the fucking fields. So shut the fuck up. Seriously, shut the fuck up. When the government cut me off welfare with 5 dependent kids in the middle of winter back in 2003, I went into a 2-bedroom apartment. Uncle John called it the Little Submarine. It was a bunk bed with another bed, one for Uncle John, one for Brooks, and one for Marcane. And then there was the girls' room, which had me, Shimei, Sierra, and myself. Everybody had a bed in that room. Same thing applies. There's a fucking bed. Shut up. That's what I mean by just being a little troublemaker. What's your interest in Andre? Because he's able to walk around and do things? You can tell him to do things? Oh, I know you're just teaching him. Yeah, right. But you can't communicate with his nana. Yeah, okay. And you absolutely have no interest in Amari because that's actual work. Okay. God forbid if you have a child like Amari. Huh, I don't even think that girl would be capable of freaking handling it. I don't. And you see, that's the thing. Children like Amari, you don't know when they're coming. You don't know when they're going to land in your lap. You just don't know. You think you got safe when you had your kids and none of them ended up like Amari until you end up like me. And they just fall from the sky, from the stork. And you're like, oh, okay. It's not your fault. Nana will always love you no matter what. Anyway, I'm not going to the wedding. I'm not going to be associating with a bunch of people that talk behind my back. And clearly this girl is instigating this shit, okay? Because if she, the way it is, and my son is fucking, I don't know, he's zombified. He's like the rest of her male friends, looking in one direction, completely oblivious. No. Before I let you lock me up or anyone in this family upstairs into a fucking room of any kind to be abused and humiliated and insulted and cut down and told that we're no good or this or that or whatever, I will have a fucking estate sale. I'll have fucking people come in looking around, well, I want this, I want this, I want this. Oh, I think I want to buy that up there. Yeah, okay, no problem. How much you get? Okay, take it, go. Yeah, that's an alternative. Just saying. Whether I'm blind or not, it's a fucking alternative. Forget this, oh, you're going to inherit the fabric. Fuck no. I'm going to sell it before you even fucking get your fingers on it. How about that, bitch? Unless, of course, maybe you're pinching here and pinching there like a Joan Duncan when I'm not looking. Being that you act like her. Ugh. Okay. That's it. I'm not talking about it no more. I already made my decision. So, this time we're adding old cheddar cheese. Because I want a little more cheesy sauce instead. I watched another video when somebody was counting cheese. They added a bit of mustard. Ground mustard. So this is that mustard from those beans. And a tablespoon or so of vinegar. Just to help preserve what was, and to preserve the taste. Right? So I think I might just avoid garlic altogether. I'm going to go with the mustard seed, salt, and maybe a tablespoon of vinegar, and we'll just see what we get. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring this up to a boil. If you notice this pot, look at this. No holes. This is what I should have used the first time. But, you know, we learn, right? I'm going based on my experience here, and just so anyway, the water is hot. Okay? And I'm going to bring this to a boil because it's cream. It's not going to caramelize. The butter and the sour cream in there. I basically kept the recipe the same. 1 cup sour cream, 2 cups cream cheese, a half a block of butter, like a half a pound of butter, right? Bring it to a boil. Once it starts boiling, you know, turn it down because it's going to rise, because the cream will start to boil. So bring it to that as it's rising, and then turn it down a bit. Keep it boiling for a bit, right? And then we've got 2 cups of cream cheese, a little more than 8 ounces of Parmesan cheese. This one's a little different, but whatever. And a whole, 750 grams or something like that? I don't know exactly. Anyway, a block of old cheddar cheese that's been sitting in the fridge in Auntie Shemai's fridge downstairs for quite a while with the rest of the cheese, because I plan on dehydrating some at some point. However, I did want to make cheese sauce, and I couldn't quite figure out how to do it. But I think doing what I've done with the Alfredo, I think it's going to work out pretty good. And based on what another woman did with the mustard seed, mustard powder, I can see how that would blend in well with the cheddar cheese, right? Because we don't want to overpower it with garlic, okay? So I'm not using garlic. I will probably use, well, there looks like about, I don't know, we'll just see how many. We'll start with 1 teaspoon first. And then I'll probably do 1 or 2 teaspoons of salt. And then that will be it. And then I'm going to put them into jars, right? Wipe your rims with a rag. Clean one at that. Put your lids on. Put them in. I don't want a pressure can for 10 minutes. I would prefer myself to water bath them with the water, this time over the lid. I'm going to go over the lid. And I will more than likely keep my headspace at least at a ½ inch, based on what I can see with those other jars, right? In terms of the Alfredo sauce bought from the store. I think a 1 inch could be too low. I can understand why they would do that in a pressure canner, but I think because I'm gonna take it to that low boil. Okay, not this kind. You don't want that. You want that, right? When it's just getting like that, you're getting into your pasteurizing. Okay, when it's just coming to the boil, that's a pasteurize at 190. After 3 minutes, you basically disinfected your food when it comes to those pathogens, bacteria. Okay? Anything else after that, the longer you leave it, just ends up sealing the jar without overcooking the food. Like if you were doing pickles, for example, and you wanted to try and keep them more crunchy, don't boil the shit out of them, because you're just cooking them and they're going to come out more soggy. Whereas if you keep them at that 190 for 15-20 minutes, depending on the size of your jar, right, you're just sealing the jar. And you have a better chance of your pickles coming out more crunchier, okay? And of course the vinegar preserves or whatever the pickle, right? And but in this situation, I've seen anywhere from, in terms of other women, you know, doing it with the water bath, right? They do it anywhere from 15 or 20 minutes, up to 40. I'm going to take it up to at least 40. Because when you're going at this type of a boil, you're not really causing any damage any more than what you've already done with the amount of cooking that it took to get it into the jar. Okay, what you're doing is you're just allowing that heat to thoroughly travel through the jar. And what I like about what I'm doing here is when this is boiling and I turn it down a bit and that's really, really hot and I throw in all the cheese at one time and I start stirring and it's, right? It melts. I found it last time it melted really, really fast and that's what you want in order for that heat to travel through. You don't want clumps of this and clumps of that, right? You're not going to caramelize cheese. You're not going to caramelize sour cream. You're not going to caramelize whipping cream. Okay, if you had milk, quote unquote, just straight up milk, I don't know, maybe the result I would feel might be different, but as it is, when I did the last batch in the pot, that was actually boiling for at least 50 minutes. Okay? Right? It was, by the time it started boiling to the time I got it where I wanted it, for the amount of time that I left it in there, it was a total of already 50 minutes. So I'm okay with that. The only thing is, I think it would be better myself, I could be wrong, we'll have to wait and see what happens after the fact, is to have it under the water with that 1 inch above it, and then, bring it up to that pasteurizing and just go a little past where it's a little bit of a more boil. With your lid on, you have to adjust your heat. And then from that point, time your 40 minutes. And yeah, you're good, because it doesn't matter either or, you're still going to have to warm it up. I know there's people out there that don't do it. They just eat straight up out of a jar. But, people do what they do. Myself, I'd be just happy to have cheese sauce that was delicious and high in calories. And once you bring it to a boil in a pot, as it's recommended, even with the commercial brand, right? There you go. You're good. You're good. So yeah, let me just do this. You know the routine, right? It's too hard. I have to focus. Use this kind, if you can, for the bottom of your pot, right? If you notice, I'm using, oh my, what happened? There we go. A wide berth, right? Okay. So when you start stirring, you're just grabbing this to the bottom of the pan, right? But as soon as this heats up and starts to boil, this cream is going to rise up really fast. So turn down your heat a bit. You can boil it. I probably boil it for a few seconds, like maybe a minute or something like that, just to get it really good. And then I'm going to throw in all the cheese, right? Then after it's melted, then I'll put in some mustard seed. I may or may not put in the vinegar, probably, because it helps with preserving the flavor and just with the preserve altogether. And because it's like, if I only put a tablespoon in, no more than maybe 2, considering the size of the pot and the amount of food that's in there, it's going to disperse so much in between the product that it's, and you can also, some of it's going to boil off, right? You're not going to notice it, right? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, other than maybe it helps to preserve the taste and just adds, I don't know. I'm not ruling out vinegar yet. Although I won't use vinegar to wipe my rims, right? So, oh yeah. And we'll see approximately how much, I don't even know. I think that's a teaspoon. Looks like there's about 2 teaspoons in here at least. So we'll start with 1 teaspoon at a time. I'll probably end up just putting it all in there and be done with it. Okay. So yeah, that's... If you don't stand up for yourself, nobody will stand up for you, okay? Clearly this is a funky situation. the shoe was on the other foot, I don't think they'd sit there and stay quiet about it. They'd be squawking on. Oh, she's throwing out my stuff. What's wrong with that woman? Oh, she's doing this and she's doing. Oh, I come down and there's all more stuff is gone and I'm finding it outside and it's all busted up and and she's rude to me and she don't but right? Like fuck off, go away. Go away. And then expect me to be happy because you guys decided to get married? Yeah, right. Are you talking behind my back, plotting and scheming what you can throw out fucking next? Go away from me. Seriously. As I'm thinking of having an estate sale before I even die. I wonder what my kids would do. What are you doing, Mom? Well, I'm having an estate sale. What do you mean? Well, I don't know. I put an ad up wherever, here, there. I got a bunch of people coming by that's going to start grabbing shit wherever. We'll just go from room to room. They see something, they can fucking take it and pay me and walk out the door with it. Are you kidding me, Mom? No, I'm not. You don't want me to have this shit, so what the fuck do you care? Go away. Get out of here. I'm giving you what you want, right? Making it easy for you, right? Don't ask me for money, because I'm not giving you the fucking money. I'm going to hide it. I'm going to take it out in the yard and I'm going to bury it. Yep. And I'm going to tell Amari where it's at. Yep. And you'll never get the answer from Amari. Just saying. Mari's good at keeping secrets. So yeah, my burners, I don't know. Not working very good. So I got it boiling now. I don't know if my burner is a little off or what. So it's boiling anyway. Alright, you can see. Right, not good for my eyes, but we already know. Okay, so now I'm just going to take all of this and just put it in there. Hopefully without burning myself and having it splash up on me. Now, as I'm working here, when I was reading those ingredients, from the store-bought Alfredo sauce, if you remember correctly, one of them had citric acid in it. Okay? And they were using it as a preserving agent. That's what citric acid, just like those fruit from Dole. No sugar, but they had to preserve the fruit, so they used citric acid to do it, to which this creamy machine can't handle citric acid through its mechanisms because of the corrosion around it, right? So if that's the case, and when I was looking at that other video with the other woman who added the mustard seed and the vinegar, she was canning Velveeta cheese. I'm pretty sure it was Velveeta cheese, right? It was some kind of cheddar cheese of some kind. Either or, people, through comments, why you do that? Why, because some people say, oh, don't even wipe your rims with citric acid, with vinegar on your rag. Don't even wipe your rims, right? Because you don't want your milk to curdle. Well, these things, apparently, they separate anyway. So it's not even about curdling, right? Because the different solids, they separate. So this is where you want to keep this at the bottom of your pan, right? And just by adding in that old cheddar cheese, like old sharp, right? Not, you got the medium, the mild, and the old. I chose an old one for this. I can smell it. And that's basically what I want, is a cheese sauce. Now, I probably could add in another block to make it even more cheesier, but I'm just going to settle for this. This pot will fit 8 jars. So, this might be a little more than 8 jars, or I might get lucky and just get the 8 jars. Right? So I'm just scraping off the bottom before it gets too scorched on. And then what happens is it collects on the bottom of your spoon, right? And I find doing it this way, by heating it up real fast, oh boy, everything just almost kind of instantly melts. There you go. Now I can't see it. Oh my Lord. Oh, here we go. So now I'm going to use mustard powder instead of garlic. I'm going to do one first, and I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of vinegar. I have citric acid. I could use citric acid, but I'm choosing to use the vinegar instead. Because at the end of the day, if I don't like it after I open the jar, well, I know my garden will love it. Not that I'm planting a garden because of spiteful people. I'll just do 1 tablespoon. Yeah. I'm lifting up the pot lid here just to get it off the burner for a little minute, because it's heating up, it's scorching on the bottom. So we're going to take it off the burner for a second. Turn down the burner now, because basically it's all melted, right? Because I have to get my jars out. So we'll turn off the burner, let it cool for a second, and then I'm going to put the lid on and get my jars out. But before I do that, I want to taste this. You always got to taste it, right? See, my heat, I'm frying my eyes with the heat. My face is right over the burner. Even though I turned off the burner is hot. I can feel it. When I was doing that ham hock, and those beans, I opened up the oven and my face was too close because I don't have very good judgment, right? With the, you know. I scorched my eyes. I'm like, holy shit, what did I do? Whatever. It's okay. I got a backup plan. I'm going to have an estate sale. Make it fun. Maybe. We'll see. I got time to make a decision. I don't have to decide just yet. You know, that tastes like cheddar. You could almost say a white cheddar. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. That's good. Yeah. If I had another block, next time, I got 1 more batch to do. Honest to God, I think I'm going to do 2. Because I got more cheese downstairs, right? That was perfect. It's exactly, like, as a cheese sauce, it's perfect. Like, you don't even know. It's fucking perfect. It's perfect. If you want it a little more sharper, add in another block. Yeah, serious. Right? Add in another block and you're going to have, you don't have to go looking for number 10 cans. You can do it this way. Being that I don't have another block of cheese, I'm going to just, for the sake of it, throw in another teaspoon of mustard seed, because it's just going to spice it up just a little bit more. Oh, and I forgot the salt. I didn't even put salt in it yet. And I'll put some salt in it. It'll taste even better. Not that it needs salt, because it doesn't really need it. But I'm going to put it in there anyway. Oh boy, that's so good. I like that. But between the heat and the spices and everything, and the steam, oh boy. Well, that's okay though. So, whatever this is going in there. I don't know, about that much. We'll start with that first. That'll be probably more than enough because you can always add salt later. Right? Yeah. Just blend everything in good. And then what we'll do is we'll let it sit here with the lid on and rest, so that if there's any little miscellaneouses of cheese, which doesn't look like it will further melt, because I think that's the secret to this stuff. The more the cheese is melted, the easier it is for the heat to travel through, and you're good to go. Yeah. Let me taste it one more time. Oh. You got to take a big to get the full taste of it. Tastes like cheddar cheese, people. Mission accomplished. That's exactly what I wanted. Although, if I had to take it one step further, I would just add another block of cheese. Yeah. That's what I would do. Okay, I had a little towel here, and I can't find it. There it is. That's good. That's really, really good. And then when I eat, this is the part of the Parmesan, you know, the whatever. It makes my nose run. Hold on. Okay, so hopefully this battery won't run out. What I'm finding is, as I'm filling this up, it's settling. And for a whole block of cheese, all I got was one extra jar, people. Isn't that interesting? And even then, I don't even know if it's going to be a full jar. No, it's not even a full jar. So, it could have handled 2 blocks of cheddar cheese for what it's worth. What does that say? Because I used the same amount of ingredients with a big block of cheese, to which didn't really produce much more in terms of jars. No. I don't even think I'm going to get a full jar out of this. You have to use a spatula at the end, just so you know. So make sure you have a spatula, right? One of those things, okay? Because it's, I wouldn't say it's like cake, but it's like a batter, all right? And you don't want to waste any of this. Now, with the cheddar cheese in it, especially if you're going to go into 2 blocks, you know, it's a different kind of cheese, right? So, it's hard to say. It's hard to say how it's going to solidify in this. Because, what do you call it? Oh, I like this anyway, so I scoop up on the rest, whatever's left over. Oh, my eyes are just really fried. What was I thinking? Maybe a wide mouth jar might be better. Depends. Depends how it solidifies in terms of getting it out of the jar. Yeah, didn't even make... Definitely tastes like cheddar cheese. One more would have been perfect. Yeah. It just would have really brought it up to that really cheesy level. Now, I don't know if this burner is working correctly or not. Good. Oh, so good. Oh, I like it. So this is what we've got so far. So yeah, we didn't even make a full jar. So that cheese extra cheese, all it did was produce that much extra. Otherwise, I get 6 jars with the recipe as is, right? But I'm bringing up my headspace higher. And as I'm pouring this, I'm finding that it's settling. So you want to settle because headspace is important, right? You don't want a lot of headspace. You really don't. So when these women are saying an inch, inch and a half, I'm like, I wonder. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows what they're doing. Except for maybe some granny up in the farm someplace that's been doing it for 65 years. You know? Yeah, as I'm adding extra, I'm finding that it is settling to some degree. So be prepared to do that as well. Right? And if I would have added, that looks about right. If I would have added 1 more block of cheese, I would have at least gotten 7 jars instead of 6. Because as it is right now, that's a half a jar. And you might want to consider, you might, I don't know, I don't know. I won't know until I get into it and open it up and see how it solidifies, right? Because of the cheddar cheese, right? You might want to consider wide mouth instead of regular mouth. Now there is little bits of cheese on the outside of the jar, because you know. So as long as it's not on the rim, and I'm taking it off where the screw band kind of goes in there, so it's going to get a little bit in the water, but that's okay. What you want to try and do is prevent the siphoning, and this is where the 190 and a little over that 190, just to, you know, keep it at a very low boil, is going to seal your jars. And as long as you don't take off your lid too soon, right, and you let your canner cool, or your pot cool after the fact before you open the lid, chances of getting siphoning are pretty low, right? And so yeah, I'm really happy with this in terms of, if I was to do a cheese sauce, this is along the lines that I would do it, right? And I don't think adding a little bit of vinegar to it, or citric acid for that matter, in terms of the crystal form, if it's already being used in another Alfredo sauce in a commercial sense, then there's no reason why you can't put in some into this if you wanted to, as just that little extra preserving agent or whatever, right? Oh boy. After this, I'm doing the bacon and the ham hocks. I gotta work on this porch coming up this week, and then I'm gonna get in. Tisha's got to go buy me some more jars that size, small, regular mouth, for those canned tomatoes that I bought, tomato sauces, because I'm definitely recanning them and taking them out of cans. And then we'll get into the peaches. And if I do any kind of meat at any point in the future, it will only be either straight up pork, straight up beef, or straight up chicken. And I'm not really interested in fish because I still got fish in the house and freezers to do. But I will definitely look for some cans without those pull tabs. With whether they're like, maybe I might try this. They only had 1 can, but I might buy a couple of cases of that just for the sake of having it. I have some downstairs in a jar, but I don't know, I'll probably go that route at some point. Just miscellaneous things along the way, here and there, not too much. So now, done with the clean rag. And then we put on the lid, so hold on a minute. That's another thing my son is resentful of, that I filed lawsuits fighting for my family. If I would have won, it would have been different. He would have praised me. But because I didn't win, he fucking mocks me. You know, he throws at my, you filed lawsuits, waste your time. I was like, shut up. At least I stood up for my family and I fought for fucking our rights. Right? You know what I'm saying? If you don't stand up and fight for yourself, how do things ever start to change? They don't. Right? And the problem is too big. You know what I'm saying? Way, way, way too big. So, the more of us start to fight back, the better it is. But many of us, we're not even aware. That's the problem. We're not even aware. We take everything for face value. We listen to figures of authority. The social worker said, oh, she's alive. Well, no, she's not. What's all that bleeding out of her arms? And what's this leaking? Why is she looking bombed? Well, she's not. Her blood just turned to water. We had to poke her all over the place because we couldn't get blood. It was all water. Yeah, I wonder why. I'm like, shut up. And you know, and you're under stress, so you don't think, right? You know, you accept it. Right? Oh. So, now, with the water boiling, I'm not even wiping these as is. I'm not too worried about a little bit of water because all the steam's going to push it out anyway. These are clean. I'm just going to be in there for a long time anyway, so. Now, it's not quite. I'm going to take it over I am going to take the water over the lids. I, myself, personally feel more comfortable, so I'm going to go and get some hot water from the tap, and I'm going to cover them up about over an inch. And then when I put the other lid on, it has no holes in it, so nothing's going to escape. So hold on a minute. Okay, so if you were going to pasteurize, this is how you do it, right? If you want to, you know, can your juice without boiling shit out of it and have it siphon out, this is how you do it. If you want to can your pickles, right, that type of thing, this is how you do it, okay? It's coming up to that, almost to that boil point, right? You can have a thermometer, but we're going to take it past the 190, so it's going to start to boil a little bit, just based on what other women have to say about this stuff. So, because I added hot water from the tap, it's going to take a few minutes, right? Just to heat it up, and when you see it's going to start, right? And then, so what we can do, I guess, it's just hard for me to see, right? See, it's a different pot, completely different pot. It's going to heat up in there real fast. I can't necessarily see through that, right? But I'm not going to start the time until I get it to where I want it, then I'll start, right? So hold on. So I think once you start this process, right, you just kind of jimmy with the heat, right? I turned it down, but I should have just left it up. You can just get it to that boil, and then once you can see it through the lid, right? Then you start inching it down, and you just get it to the where it's that, you know, not like that. If it's like that, that's pasteurizing. When it's getting like that, that's where you want it. When it's like that, that's not what you want. Okay? Big difference. And because everything was hot, those jars were hot, the stuff was basically hot, went into really hot water. The hot water was, okay, so nothing got a chance to congeal, right? It's still, whatever, it's good. And then in terms of this, you can see this is getting warm now. Okay? And it does. It tastes like cheddar cheese. Just not strong. However, as it sits in a jar over time, it will age and it will get stronger. So in that situation, you might want to go one medium cheddar and one old cheddar to double up on the cheddar to get that extra jar, because this could take 8 jars. And I only got 6 and a bit. So at best I would have gotten 7 and a bit, because a whole block of cheese, by the time it was all said and done, that's all it produced. Yeah. Because the ingredients were the same amount compared to my last two, and I was getting 6 jars per batch. Okay, so what's going on here? I kind of see something. I see the water kind of moving. It wants to go. It wants to, but it's just not ready yet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off this camera. I'm going to plug it in for a bit, and then we'll come back and finish the video when it's done. Oh yes, and once I get it to where I think I want it, then I'm going to put it on for 40 minutes and be done with it, right? It probably doesn't need 40 minutes, but I'm just going to do it for the 40 minutes, and I will feel very good about what I've done. And I'm not doing this for anybody. I'm doing it for Andre, for me, and for Amari. And when I make my noodles and whatever, right? I don't care about the other ones. I just don't. I can't. They don't appreciate what I do. They don't consider what I do to be work. Anything I do. Doesn't matter what it is. Right? Nobody does, really. No. Even yard work, nobody considers that to be work. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. So, well, see, it's not boiling yet. So, get it to where you know it's boiling. When you know it's boiling, then don't lift up the lid, because you're going to break that suction, right? Like, I wasn't really comfortable with that other pot, but I'd already done it. And somebody said, "Oh, don't have the water over the, have it just have your sauce, just up to here, and have your water just up to here." And no, I don't think so. I mean, it'll probably be okay. I'm not too worried about it. But if you want to, like, do it better, this is the better way to do it, right? Oh yeah. So now you can hear it. Oh, definitely. That's too much of a heavy boil, right? Okay, so we're going to bring it down to 5.5, 6.5. We're going to bring it down to, 5.5. Just to slow it down. And then once you get it in that sweet spot, then you leave it. And then start your time then. Whether you want to do it for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I'm going to choose the 40. No, see, it's got to go down lower now. Because of the lid, right? It's heating up in there, right? So now I've got it at 4.5. So let me work with it. Hold on. Okay, so the only other thing I can think of, and if you notice, the stove is at almost 2.5 now. Okay? And you can hear it. You can hear it bubbling. Alright? Okay, now the bottom is a canning tray, which have the holes in them, right? To which, heat is being pushed up out of the hole, which makes the bubble, right? That's why you hear bloop, 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 bloop. Now, when my mother used to can, and I've done it too, actually, especially when you're getting into these size jars. When you're getting into these ones, when you're doing fruit, right? This is the 1.9 liters. You kind of have to encase them a little bit in between ranks a little bit, right? You put them on cloth at the bottom of the pot so that they don't come and start clanging together, right? Okay. I'm just wondering if a cloth would be better. Maybe double layer or something, I don't know. On the bottom of this, instead of a canning, like a pressure canner, whatever it is on the, I can't think right now. To prevent that bloop, 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 not that I think it would make much of a difference. I don't, like, in terms of, I don't think it's going to cause any trouble in there, but it's just, bloop, bloop. Right, where this one maybe not so much, I don't know. But the bubbles would still find their way out. I'm just saying, if you don't have something for the bottom of your pot, you can use a cloth, okay? So, when you get to this point, obviously you have to listen, because the longer it goes, the hotter it's going to get inside. So you're going to find yourself turning down even now I'm at 2, right? Because you don't want this. You want it kind of where it's at. Now, if you're pasteurizing, you don't even use a lid, okay? Because you just got it that where it's just coming to a boil. And you normally use a thermometer to make sure it's at 190, and you hold it at 190, right? We're here, you got a little room to move, you know, you don't need to, you know, you're not, right? So as long as it's not starting to go like this, you should be fine. So we still got 25 minutes to go, and then after it's done, I am just going to turn off the heat, and I'm just going to let this sit for at least probably a good half an hour. And because as soon as you open the lid too much, and when I open, I'll probably just crack it a bit, right? Just a tad bit. But I'm going to let it sit for, probably at least a half an hour. Just pretend you forgot about it, right? So it can cool down so that you don't get the siphoning, right? Because apparently milk likes to siphon more than other things. So we don't want to provoke it. That's not to say that it's not already siphoning in there, because it could very well be. But I can't really, from what I can tell, the water to me kind of still looks kind of clean in there, because I can see that lid backdrafting at me, and I see a gray in there. So if it was siphoning, it would all be, you wouldn't have this little piece in here, right? So far so good, because we don't want it to siphon, and this is why we're doing it this way. So pay attention to your knob, because if you notice now I'm at 2 going into 1.5, okay? Just so that it doesn't get, right? Just saying. Okay, so I'm just going to let it sit for 15 minutes. I got 4 more minutes to go. And then, obviously, the heat is off, right? We did it for 40 minutes. What I found is, when you're doing it, go in halves, okay? Because at one point, it was kind of like, I was at, 3.5, 2.5, somewhere around in there. 3, maybe. And it was, it was picking up on boil, so I kind of turned it down a little past 2, and then it just kind of really slowed down. I didn't like that. So I find if you just go like half at a time, and then find that sweet spot where for me it was about 2.5. By the time, where am I? By the time I was pretty much, and it just kind of just carried on. So after it's, my little timer goes off here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crack the lid a little bit for a bit, right? And then I'm take off the lid. I'm not going to take everything out right away. I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes or so. I left it sitting for 15 minutes with the lid, with the heat off, right? I was going to do for 30, but that seems to be a bit extreme, so I think 15 minutes should be more than enough. My water fermenting crock pot apparently sold. So my son came up and gave me my money. So I wanted 125. I was willing to give his girlfriend 25. Whether she put it at 140 and got her 25 and gave me 120 or whatever she kept, or she just sold it for I don't know, because she doesn't like to talk to me. Just saying. Right, so give her what she wants, right? Just don't fucking talk to her. Fuck you. I will never ask you again to sell anything for me. I will find a way. I will do my blind woman's auction, or maybe I'll just have an estate sale and witness it in person. I don't know yet. I'll figure it out. Just saying. So I'll put this in an envelope, and I'm going to start hoarding money. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hoard my money. And when I got a whole wad of it, when I got that bag, I'm going to go find someplace in my yard, and I'm going to dig a little hole, and I'm going to bury it, and I'm going to tell Amari where it is. Only Amari's going to know. And the only person around here who understands Amari, in terms of, can hear what Amari is saying when Amari says it, because we know he has severe cerebral palsy, so it doesn't always come out the way we think it should, is Andre. So if anyone's ever going to figure out the secret as to where Mom Nana buried the money when I'm really gone, because you know they'll be flipping over my mattress looking for it, but they'd have to move all that fucking fabric first, assuming that I don't sell it first. They'll be like, oh, I remember that video. Mom was talking about burying it in Mrs. Gill's yard somewhere. Only Amari knows, though. More than one way to skin a cat, right? Or a skunk. Which one is it? I'm just saying. Okay, so now, don't breathe. Because as soon as you bring in new temperatures, cold air, hot canner, whoosh, whoosh. Okay, so we don't want that to happen, right? I don't even know. So we're just, I mean, maybe you're supposed to leave it sit like this for an hour for all I know. So we're just going to crack it a little bit, because this is an extremely heavy lid. Oh yeah, see, it brought bubbles. I seen that. But it was just a few. If I would have taken it off for sure, it would have, right? So now you just let it sit like that for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then take off your lid. And before you take out your jars, maybe give them another 5 or 10 minutes in the canner. Just, play it by ear. Now this, after these are out and they're on the counter, I will at some point let them cool for a bit. They will more than likely seal, if they haven't sealed already, right? And then I would shake it just a bit, gently, a little bit, right? Just because they will separate. So, I'm going to put this one in the fridge because this one's got the cheddar cheese in it, right? And I'm like really curious to see how it solidifies. So I'm just going to put cheddar cheese, cheddar Alfredo. And I'll maybe check it tomorrow or whenever, right? I've got the other one in there from the last time I did this. So I think I'm just going to open them up, double check them, and then probably just throw it in the freezer, right? Just so it doesn't go to waste. I'll change it. I'll take it out of a jar and I'll find something else, like a plastic container or something, and I'll freeze that. Because you can do that, right? So even if a jar didn't seal, you can still take it out of the jar, put it in a plastic container, like, whatever, right? A yogurt container or something, and just freeze it, right? Just saying. I don't think, they're shelf stable like this, as long as they're sealed. But once you open, you have to put it in the fridge. Same thing with when you can butter. It's not like butter you buy in a store. So even if you pressure can the butter for 75 minutes, you opened your jar, don't assume that you can just leave it out on the counter, because that's what ghee is for. Ghee can handle that, butter cannot. It would have to go in the fridge. How long it stays in the fridge after you open the jar? Well, I think in part would depend on where you put it. So put it in the coldest part, is further back where it's very cold. And, use it within a reasonable amount of time. Because I think what happens is when it does begin to spoil, you're going to see mold. So if you put it in the fridge thinking you can come back in a month from now, after you opened it and you put it in the fridge, you're going to get the same result like with that cream cheese that you've seen, right? Because you broke the seal. You introduced air into the container, right? Well, it would apply to this as well, okay? Because of the butter, the creams. So once you open a jar, even if you can can these in half pints. So if you're just one person, instead of doing a pint, you can do a half pint, right? obviously Andre, myself, and Amari. So that's more than enough. That's enough for one meal, right? And then leftovers for the next day. That's why I'm doing it like this. Same thing when I do these which I actually might even do today, because I just, honestly, people, I just want to get this shit over with. And I still got a ways to go. Don't forget, I still got that 30 key of honey coming yet. But I'll probably do that after this other little I still got my Cummit wheat sitting in a bag over there. And either or, like, you know. So I have 8 jars like this, which will fill up at least 1 canner. So I may open up those cans of pasta sauce. That would probably be about 4 or 5 cans, because they're quite large. So I figure it will get me 1 and maybe 2/3 of a jar. So as long as I get a full canner, I'm okay with that. And I'm going to recan them, because I want just enough for 1 meal. And then if it spills over the next day where you heat it up in the frying pan, great, right? You know, that's basically what I'm trying to do. And also get the acid, the tomatoes out of the can, right? And then we have, I forgot, we have those Rotella little cans with the chili peppers and stuff that I'm going to end up at a later date making my own salsa sauce with tomatoes and peppers and onions, and I'll cook it with the garlic and everything, and then I'll open up a couple of Rotellas, throw them in there, and then I'll can in those lug jars, which I'm pretty sure you don't pressure can lug jars. I don't know, never worked with lug jars before. And more than likely I will do what like I did today. Okay? And we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Peaches, obviously water bath, and I will probably do those in quart-sized jars, although I would do some like this for those smoothies that I want to bring in, right? So, okay, now that that's been cracked for a bit, right, I think it's safe now to take off the lid in general. So that's what we're going to do. Okay? And before we bring out the jars too quickly, we don't want to do that, because from hot and the house is cool, because I don't have the heat on per se. I can feel that it's raining outside. I can feel the chill. It's not cold, but you know, it's not exactly warm in here either. And where this is really, really warm. So as soon as you bring it out into the cold air, it's going shoo, right? And we don't want that. So, as you can see, perhaps it's a little cloudy, but not much, from what I can see, right? And it honestly, it doesn't even look like it is sealed the jar yet. So what we're going to do is, now I know this stuff. If I bring it out a little bit too soon, I'm just going to give it another 5 more minutes. So hold on. Oh yeah, just work slow. I started soon after I turned off the camera to take them out, and what I'm finding is, as I'm pulling them out, obviously the water is dropping, and as they're dropping, the jars are popping for the ones that didn't seal yet, right? Okay. In terms of their popping, like popping, they're sealing. Okay. As they're coming into the air, because the water line is dropping. And once they get to that point, they're not going to siphon out, right? And it looks like, from what I can see, they all sealed. So they pretty much all sealed, either in the canner before I took off the lid, or as I was taking out the ones that I could see that were sealed and the water line was dropping, the ones that weren't sealed, sealed. And from what I can see, it's looking pretty good. And we didn't get hardly any siphoning, and if we did, it could have been something that was on the jar itself when I was filling up the jars, because sometimes it overflows, right? So you can see it's still fairly clean inside. It's not that bad, right? And that's what is it, 6 jars? Plus this one. Now this one I'm going to put in the fridge as is. And the next video, well, maybe not. Because I honestly, like I said, I'm tired. I just want to get on with this stuff, right? I might just move into recanning some tomato sauce. It's still early in the day. I started this early today. Yeah, it's almost noon now. It's almost lunchtime, noon, right? So I got all day to do another 8 more jars of pasta sauce. And I'm only recanning it. It's not like I'm cooking it. I'm just heating it up and putting it in jars and water bathing and be done, right? And that's 4 or 5 cans less. I don't know how many I bought. I bought a few of them. And Tisha's got to go get me some cat food. So being that, I don't know if she's going to do that today, but when she does, whether she does it today or maybe tomorrow, I'm going to get her to pick me up some more regular mouth pint-sized jars. Probably 2 or 3 more cases to finish up what I'm doing. And I'm going to get her to buy me 2 new fresh whipping cream. And I need 2 new cream cheese because I actually don't have any. I have some frozen, but I don't think I have any more quote-unquote cream cheese. And I have the Parmesan. I have the cheese downstairs, and I'm going to do another batch of this. Only next time I might double up on the cheese. In terms of, I'll do 1 aged and 1 medium. Because I like the taste of it. It was, for a cheese sauce, it's hard to say how it's going to come out of the jar. I think with the 1 block of cheese, all it got me, that 1 extra block of cheese, was that. 1 jar, that's it. So if I add 2 blocks between the regular recipe, I'll be lucky to get 2 more jars. So that would be 8 jars, which will fit in this right here. I'm pretty sure I can fit 8 jars in that. Right? Which is good. How it comes out of the jar, I don't know. Maybe I should be considering using wide mouth, to which I do have those jars here, but I won't be able to get 8 in there. But I probably could get 7 of those ones because they're wide mouth, right? I'd have to double check. And then after that, I'm not doing this for a long time, but I'm going to start introducing it into our meals once a week or once every 2 weeks. And then, you mean, I'm hiding it right now. I'm trying to figure out where I can hide it in my bedroom so my son can't have it. Because I'm mad at him. Fuck. He doesn't consider this to be work. It doesn't produce an income. I had a cop ask me a couple of weeks ago. That's a different story. I'll tell you that story one day. He asked me if I do this for money. I said, no, I don't make money off of this. I don't sell it. He asked me if I sold it, right? Do make money, right? And I'm like, no, I don't sell it. I do it for the house. I told him if an earthquake ever came, and this was the last house standing on the block, and you had a handful of kids in a family that needed food, you can come to my house. He goes, oh, I said, yeah. That's why I do it. Right? So, if an speaking of an earthquake, oh my God. You know what? We might be closer to it than we think. I just watched a video from Wuhan, which is a pretty reputable news source, right? In terms of, Wuhan, W-I-O-N, right? And they were talking about the tectonic plates up along Oregon, California, and the West Coast, right? And there's something going on with them where there's a big black deep hole that's leaking out water or something. And they're so afraid that if this stops leaking the water from this deep black hole between the tectonic plates, that's what's going to cause everything. And we're going to get like a 0.9 earthquake happening along the whole coastline. That's what I mean. That's what I told that cop. Like, if my house is the last house standing, and you know where to come. Right? Because what you gonna do, right? But as for making money, no. I get kicked around like a fucking can for it. Alright, so I'm gonna end this video now. And I'm going to let these cool for about a half an hour, 45 minutes. And then once they're cooled down a bit, I'm going to shake them just gently for a little bit, off and on. I don't know if it's necessary. I would kind of think so. I don't think it would hurt. They're looking really nice, if you ask me. Like, really nice. Right? It handled well with the higher headspace, right? So I think that's good. And they all sealed. And those other ones that I did, none of those seals popped. And as long as your seals don't pop, people, you're fine. And then after you open, put them in the fridge. And yeah, by all means, don't leave them there thinking you can go back in a month, because there are no preservatives in them, and you can't rely on butter in that situation to, hold up to the test of time as if it came fresh from the grocery store. So, there. Now I gotta figure out where I'm gonna hide my money. Look, I already lost one. See? Don't give me money. I lost a $100 bill. Oh my God. I can't see people. That's the problem. I only got a 20. What did I do with the 100? It's hiding itself. I know I put it over here. Money, money, money. Where did you go? Oh my Lord, I lost the money. Can you imagine that? I haven't even had it for an hour and already I've lost it. This is what I mean. I can't fucking see. Stupid. Yeah, I lost it. Andre! Oh, no. Andre! I need your eagle eyes. Nana lost her money. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, never mind. It fell down on the floor. I think I see it. So, I'm going to start a new habit. I'm not spending this. I got to figure out what I'm going to sell next.